Jim Edwards here, sitting alongside the former Cage Warriors bantamweight champion and one of the UFC's newest signings. It's Nathaniel Wood. He of course debuts at UFC Fight Night 131 in Utica, New York on June 1st. Nathaniel, I haven't spoken to you since you signed the contract, so first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell me, first of all, where were you when you first heard the news, and where did you sign the contract?
Well, I was actually just at the end of my bed. You know, I had my phone on charge and I was just sitting there flicking through Instagram, and yeah, my manager just sent me a little text, you know, and said, "Do you want to fight in New York against Johny Eduardo?" So straight away, you know, I was like, "Yep, buzzing for that." But yeah, you know, I always knew that it was kind of in talks. I didn't know what fight, you know, I didn't know when it would be, what show. I was kind of thinking Liverpool, but yeah, you know, New York it is.
Yeah, I mean, have you been to New York before?
No, never.
Well, see, there you go. I mean, were you slightly disappointed, I guess, that you weren't going to be on that Liverpool card? Because when that fight card came about, everyone was talking about you perhaps getting on it, but...
I wouldn't say I was disappointed, you know, because I'm grateful that I'm there. You know, I get to perform on the highest level. It would have been nice because I would have had a hell of a lot of support there. You know, I could have had all my friends and family come to see my debut. But the way I look at it is, you know, this fight is just going to make me an even bigger star, and hopefully when I come back to London or England, you know, I'm an even bigger name, and you know, maybe I could be a main event or something like that in the long run.
For sure. I mean, when I spoke to you after you defeated Luke Iovine in your last Cage Warriors fight, you were very, I don't know, you weren't presumptive in the fact that you were going to get signed, but did you know before that fight there was going to be very likely that you were going to get signed if you did win?
Yeah, you know, and there was never any confirmation where it was like, yep, 100% you're getting signed, but you know, there was kind of talks about it, and I knew it was inevitable, especially with the way that fight went.
Sure. I mean, you know, when you reflect back to, I guess, the last year and a half in terms of, you know, beating Vaughan Lee, winning the title, defending it twice, like, was that how you kind of imagined this would all pan out? Is that how you kind of visioned your future?
Yeah, you know, since I've been at Team Titan, you know, last 2 years, I feel like my level's just gone from down here up here. You know, so I knew it was inevitable to get me where I wanted to be. The Alan Philpott fight back 2.5 years ago, I think it was. You know, it's just unlucky that I got my nose caught in that fight. But from that fight onwards, you know, I knew that, you know, I was destined to be where I am now, and it was just finding that platform. So, you know, that's what Cage Warriors provided for me. They provided me with the right opponents, the right platform to showcase my skills, and, you know, now I get to do it on the even bigger platform.
You sure do. As I said there, UFC Fight Night 131, Johny Eduardo. What do you know about Johny? Looking at his record, he seems to, you know, a bit more experienced, obviously in the octagon. He seems to have had a few fights, but have you been able to look up anything about him yet?
If I'm honest, I looked up one of his fights. I think I watched 3 minutes of it and turned it off and didn't watch any more.
Why was that?
Well, I leave it to my coaches.
Yeah.
You know, I looked at him and I could see straight away he's a good striker. He looks kind of familiar to like a Jose Aldo kind of style, but you know, just obviously not as high level. Straight away I saw that he's had 6 fights in the UFC, won 3, lost 3, but you know, the main thing that stood out for me is the guy's 39. You know, that's really held to be in the UFC, so you know, I'm hoping that he's going to come out there, we're going to trade, meet in the middle, and you know, see whose chin lasts longer.
Yeah, for sure. And like, you know, this is a high-profile debut for you. Do things change mentally for you, the way you prepare for the fight, or how you go into it almost?
No, you know, I've literally just been training every fight. This is the toughest fight to date. You know, so this fight's no different than the last one. It's just a different opponent, but my training's always the same. You know, I'm always just training to become a better athlete and, you know, be the best version of myself. So yeah, you know, training's been the same. Just different opponent, but you know, the outcome's going to be the same as the last few.
Sure. I mean, Utica, New York. Have you heard of Utica before this? Nor have I. But I mean, like, does that change up anything? How long are you going to give yourself over there beforehand?
I think I fly out on the Monday, so not long, you know, but I don't feel that I need it. You know, I've got my training here, everything's perfect. As long as out there I get just a couple of days to acclimatise. But as far as I'm aware, New York, the weather, I don't think it's much different to here. You know, it's not like Vegas where you're going to the desert, and you know. So yeah, I'll go out on the Monday, cut weight, which will always be the fun part, and then yeah, get it on.
Yeah, I mean, like the rest of the year, when you look at it, you got this fight coming up now in June 1st. Like, have you even thought about where else you'd like to go this year, or how many more fights?
No, you know, obviously I'd have to see what the UFC is saying and what they would like me to do. For me, obviously, if there's another UK card at all this year, count me in 100%. But I might enjoy June and July off. You know, it'd be nice to have a little bit of summer, and because I've literally just come out of fight camp.
Sure.
So from the start of this year, I've been in fight camp. It would be nice to kind of sit back, you know, take my girlfriend out for some proper food, and actually be able to fatten up.
Yeah, I mean, what's that been like? Because you've literally been doing camp after camp after camp after camp. Is there going to get a point where you just, I really do need rest? And I'm guessing you're saying it's this summer, right?
Yeah, it's hard, you know, because it's I'd say the mental side of it, you know, that you haven't necessarily got much of a life. It's train, you know, today bank holiday, all my friends are going to the pub and stuff. Yeah. I'm not doing that, you know, but that's the life I choose, and I get to do what I love for a living. But it is important to have that rest, because right now I feel amazing, but what I don't want to happen is, let's say I take another fight, in 5 weeks time, 8 weeks time, I start to feel like I feel burnt out, you know. I want to avoid that at all cost. So yeah, you know, I think I have this fight. It'd be nice just to take it down a little bit, and then I'll pick it back up when the UFC want me at next.
Previously, when we've talked, you told me about these lists that you have, that you want to achieve certain goals by certain times. Like, how's that, you know, goal crossing off with the signing for the UFC, and like what are the next few on that list, and when are they due for?
Everything's planning out as it's supposed to. You know, I look to be in the top 10 next year. You know, if the UFC puts me in with anyone in the top 10 after this fight, count me in. And then, you know, obviously I'm going to be chasing that belt, so whoever I've got to fight to get me closer to that belt is where I want to be.
I mean, how comfortable do you feel about being, I don't know, talked about fights with people like Cody Garbrandt, or you know, the top end of the division? How far is that away realistically?
For me, I would happily get in there tomorrow, you know, and I don't say that out of arrogance or anything. That's just purely confidence, you know. When you're in the UFC, I think every fight's a tough fight, and anything can happen, you know. So you put a 4-ounce glove on with a guy who's ranked 30th in the UFC, you're still looking at a tough fight. So put me in with the guy who's #1, you know, higher, maybe a bit higher risk, but there's higher reward. So, you know, for me, I'm confident that I can be in there with anyone and win.
Who is that kingpin? Who's the guy that you think owns 135 pounds right now?
You know, obviously Dillashaw's got the belt, so obviously I'd say him. But, you know, I think Cody's the better fighter. You know, I think he will win that at the rematch. So, you know, for me, he's the main guy, you know, and I like the guy as well. So it's just a shame that, you know, he's the guy I've got to chase to get the belt if he wins against TJ.
I mean, we got to have a word about your nickname now, the Prospect. You can't be a prospect and be in the UFC. So what's happening there, or will we change it
It's got to stay for now. You know, it's stuck with me. But yeah, you know, when I win that belt, I might have to say, do you know what? You know, I might have to change it. But for now, you know, I'm going to stick with it.
I've seen you working here today. It was wrestling day on a bank holiday. A lot of work, an hour and a half. Like, you know, is that standard for you guys?
Yeah.
You guys seem to be pushing each other to the maximum, even, I guess, on, I suppose, a day off for the rest of the country.
Yeah, no, every day's a hard day here. You know, we always put the grind in, but we're not, we're sensible as well. You know, so if at all we wake up and you feel like, do you know what, I need to take a day off, we do that. You know, it's not go hard all the time, but, you know, the hard sessions are here for the guys that want to turn up. And, you know, I'm always looking to improve on the holes and my areas, and, you know, I think if anything could come up, it's my wrestling. So, you know, I'll make sure that every Monday I'm here putting that grind in.
And, you know, how much of a benefit is it to having Brad as well? Obviously, not throughout just your whole career, but now you're into the UFC, he kind of knows what happens during fight week. That must be a big advantage for you.
It's amazing having him, you know, not just as a coach, but even in the sense, like you said, he's been there, done that. He knows the whole process, you know, he knows what fighters feel, he knows the weight cutting process. So, you know, a lot of coaches haven't fought before, so they might not necessarily know how a fighter will feel on fight week, etc. But Brad's obviously been there, so, you know, to have him living around the corner from my house, you know, and to have him as my mentor and be there every day is amazing.
You know, I saw this past weekend, he gifted you, I think it's your 25th birthday in 2 days now, right? Yeah,
tomorrow.
Tomorrow even, so happy birthday for tomorrow. But he gifted you a Cage Warriors title belt. You didn't get to defend it for a third time. Like, how much does that mean to you to actually have
it meant a lot, you know. Obviously, with Cage Warriors, you have to defend the title 3 times to keep it. And when I originally signed the contract, you know, I wasn't really that bothered. But once you had the belt, you know, it'd be nice in 20 years time, 10 years time, to be able to show my kids, my grandkids, you know. So for Brad to buy that for me meant a lot, you know, because I wouldn't go out and buy one myself. No. Because for me, it's like, it's not the same.
It's not a piece of jewelry, right?
For someone to actually gift that to me, you know, it meant a lot. And, you know, I'm forever thankful for that, for him.
So, you know, this debut coming up June 1st. I always say to people when they make their UFC debuts, like, what impression do you want to create on the fans? But I already feel that you already have, because you, like, when 2 fights ago you went viral, so everyone knows how you fight. Like, you know, how do you think they can expect similar when you step in there on June 1st?
You know, I'm the same fighter that I've been for the last 4 fights, you know, so how my fights have gone, I plan on doing exactly the same in there.
You know, how does it end?
Well, you know, this time next year, hopefully be chasing a title shot. But for this next fight, you know, I think I'm going to put Johny Eduardo out in the first round.
Great stuff, Nathaniel. Thanks for your time. It's been great seeing you train today, and see you in Utica.
Lovely, thank you.
Cheers, man.
Lovely, mate.